Hi guys, and welcome back to Literary Reality. My name's Sata and I talk books. So today I am talking all things love, sex and relationships. Oh my god, Valentine's Day is coming up and I know that some of you would love to read books about love and romance. I know that I do. When it comes to February, like, I just love all things romance and love and pink hearts and all of that, roses, do you know what I mean? Even though I'm gonna be at work, no one is here to treat me, but I will be at home, or after work I'm gonna be at home reading my book. I'm gonna recommend a few books that I really enjoyed. Some I haven't read yet, some I'm in the process of reading, that talks about love, sex and relationships. So yeah, let's get into it. One of my absolute faves to read is The Sex Lives of African Women by Nana Darko Sekiyama. And this book was such a refreshing experience for me because it literally tells the stories of different women, of different sexualities, of African background, and their journey in discovering themselves, their journeys in their romantic life, their sexual life. I listened to it on Audible as well, and it is such an experience. Like, I always recommend this book to my friends. I'm like, guys, you have to listen to this because it was such an eye-opener. Like, I really, really enjoyed that book. So I definitely recommend going to read that book because it opened my eyes. Like, I'm a cis heterosexual woman, so being able to hear the stories of other women from different sexualities and different types of romantic relationships, different encounters and experiences, I was just like, wow, like, I never knew this, because I don't know, it, like, for me being from an African background, I didn't really talk about sex with my mom. I know she's gonna watch this video. Oh my god, forgive me, ma. Like, we didn't talk about it. So like, I kind of grew up, even with my friends, sometimes we did not talk about sex because it's just one of those awkward topics. And now being in my late 20s, and everyone is going on about sex, so I've learned so much, especially from women with similar backgrounds to my own. It was a fantastic journey, so I highly recommend The Sex Lives of African Women. So I recently read Attached by Dr. Amir Levine, and I think that book really changed my view in terms of how I encounter relationships. So the gist of the book is you kind of find out your attachment style. So in the book there's only 3. So secure, anxious and avoidant, and it goes on to explain what those are, how they can navigate relationships, what triggers them, how you can avoid those triggers. So a lot of people don't really like the book because they feel like it's like faux sciencey, even though they come with like lots of studies to kind of support what they are saying, and I hear what they, like, the haters are saying, I guess. But for me, it really changed the way that I approach relationships with men, or will approach relationships with men. So it was really eye-opening. So I definitely recommend that if you want to know what kind of attachment style you are and how you can navigate relationships through that, definitely read Attached. I think since that book, a lot of different attachment styles have come out, because sometimes you might be a mixture of both. But the aim is to become secure. So the book also walks us through how do we become securely attached. Millennial love. Ooh, the light is bright. First of all, let's get into the colours of the book. Can you see that pink and red? Oh, I love it. So I read this ages ago. I've got it on Audible as well, so I was listening to it in the car when I was going to work, and I really enjoyed this book as well. Millennial Love is by Olivia Petter, and she's a journalist, and she talks about love within millennials, because girl, if you are single, you know that it's the pits. Like, dating is not fun. So she talks about dating, love, like being ghosted, all these different words that we're using to describe dating. She talks about a lot of it and her own personal experiences as well. So this was a really fun read. I know I'm saying everything is a fun read, but I do love to read and everything's fun. But I really enjoyed this book when I listened to it on Audible. Again, like, you learn so much and it's so relatable. You're just like, oh my god, like, it's not just me that's experienced that from a guy on a dating app. So this is a fun read and I highly recommend it. It's quite short as well, so the Audible is fantastic. She narrates the story as well, so you can't go wrong there. Do you know what I mean? You can't go wrong there. Next is Love Factually: The Science of Who, How and Why We Love by Laura Mucha. Now, I haven't read this one yet, but I remember picking it up because I listened to her on a podcast, but I can't remember what podcast it was on, so I need to go and find out which one it was, and I'll see if I can post it in the description box when I do. But I wanted to read this one because I'm a scientist. Like, I studied science, or I studied biochemistry at uni, so I always want to know like the science behind everything. So I was like, oh, the science behind love, like, let's go. Do you know what I mean? So I love love, I love science, why not? I haven't read this yet, but when I do, definitely a book review will come out about it. Okay, so these books are 2 books by the same author, who I absolutely love and adore. She's very controversial. Listen, what she was saying back then, we are all saying it now. So, Chidera Eguru, also known as the Sunflower. I love you, girl. Period. So 2 books. What a Time to Be Alone and How to Get Over a Boy. So this one is more about that kind of self-love, finding, like, learning how to love being alone and being just content with yourself, which I feel like I kind of do already, but it's always nice to see that someone else is going through that, and like always to kind of remind yourself, like, actually no, I kind of enjoy being on my own, because it's better to be alone than to suffer through some BS with some person. Do you know what I mean? So it's about how to celebrate yourself, how to not worry about what other people are saying about you. I would say it's a very quick read because it's quite, I would say it's an Instagrammable book. I'll say that for both of them actually. They're both quite Instagrammable, so it's those kind of short quotes, short paragraphs. It's a very quick read. You can get this done in like an hour for both of them. And then the second one, How to Get Over a Boy. Listen, if you've been through it with certain guys, you kind of need that reminder that you are that girl, you are that bad bee, and she kind of walks us through, like, how do we actually get over guys? Do you know what I mean? Like, you've been in love, you've been hurt, how do you bounce back? How do you return to that bad bee that you was before? So yeah, I really like this book. I really enjoyed it, and I obviously kept it in case for the next heartbreak, do you know what I mean? But nah, I won't be heartbroken in Jesus' name. Okay, next book. This book, I won't lie, it changed my life, mate. It changed my life. Changed my life. All About Love by Bell Hooks. Every person that's on probably Book Talk, like BookTube, like Book Twitter, everyone talks about this book, and a lot of people, I remember, like, it wasn't recently, but on Twitter, a lot of people are criticizing the book, saying it's basic, red. I mean, if you have your thoughts, if you have your opinion on that, that's cool. But for me, I really think this book changed my perspective on love, because it doesn't just talk about relationships or not relationships. It doesn't just talk about romantic relationships, but the ones that you have with family, friends. Talks about how you grieve. Do you know what I'm like? It's just amazing, and I think it's a book that needs to be read very often. So my aim was, after I read this, I was just like, I think I need to read this book like every year, just to remind myself of what love is, and like how I can show that to my friends and my family and just people who I love. And it, like, I won't lie, it's very difficult. I am a work in progress, but I definitely think this book will help you on that journey towards how to love in a healthy way, because we also learn what love isn't as well. So I think that's very important for people to understand. If you are quite a self-reflective person, you can work on yourself, this book definitely will help you. But yeah, this book is very good. This book is very good. It's very good. Ooh, another one I really, really love. Block, delete, and move on. It's Not You, It's Them by La La La, Let Me Explain. Which is a cute cover. So again, very similar to Millennial Love. I mean, yes, yeah, it's very similar to Millennial Love in terms of it talks about dating, it talks about romantic relationships. So she there's a lot of different things she talks about in the book, and she kind of goes through like these different scenarios, different situations, and she talks about how we can navigate them. So like when a guy ghosts you, or like a guy that you're in a situationship with keeps coming back. I know I keep talking about like heterosexual relationships, but that's all I can talk about because that is my experience. But a lot of these books do kind of cater for the LGBTQ community. But again, that's for you to kind of go in and explore. Because again, the authors can only talk from their perspective and their sexuality and their experiences. But I really, really enjoyed this book. It's funny. You will have yourself being like, damn, like I've been in this situation before. It's not just me. Like, be chuckling, like you'll be sending screenshots to your friends like, girl, look at this, like this is you. So this was a fun read, and I was like, I'll definitely keep this for whenever I encounter an F-boy on the dating apps, just to refresh my memory and be like, okay, this has happened, how do I navigate it? But yeah, this was like a really, really good read. I highly recommend you get this one. She's also on IG as La 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 Let Me Explain, so she's kind of this anonymous person, and she goes through like dating, again, dating scenarios and stuff like that. I feel like I used to read her blog years ago, but I'm not sure if it's the same person because it sounded familiar when I like got it. But yeah, I remember I was recommended this by a colleague at work, and I was just like, nah, that sounds like a bit of me. So I got it and I absolutely loved it. So yeah, definitely go for that. Next is Unattached, Essays on Singlehood. I haven't read this yet, but I thought it would be a great read because I'm single. I didn't mean to sound down when I said that, but I am single, so it's always nice to hear the experiences of like single people as well. So this book is a collection of different single women and their different experiences on singlehood, and yeah, they're just going through different, they're talking about different aspects of singlehood. Did I just say that? I think I did just say that. So talking about going out by yourself, self-love, all the kind of usual topics you'll find around singleness. So it's quite a short read. It probably is only like around 200 pages. Oh, it's not even 200 pages, it's less than that. So I'm sure I'm gonna pick this up and read at some point. But yeah, there's a lot of, if you are British, there's a lot of names in there that you would recognize, especially if you're really regular on Twitter and Instagram. There's a lot of influencers that have contributed essays to the book. So I mean, if you've read it, let me know, but I'll definitely read this at some point, so a review will be coming soon, hopefully. Last book that I'm going to recommend is The Big O by Aloni. I'm currently in the process of reading this book, and what I will say so far is that I am actually really enjoying it. So Aloni is a sex and relationships, I would say, guru, Black British Nigerian, so she's doing it for the girlies in the UK, and I really love and respect Aloni because, again, being a Black woman from an African background, we don't really talk about sex and relationships like that, and she's really out there on Twitter, especially on IG, making the Africans angry. Do you know what I mean? Because we tend to be very conservative, and she's just out here saying ladies. When you hear that, when you see that ladies on the timeline, you're just like, oh damn, what kind of stories are we gonna get today? So she's really out there shaking boots. Shaking boots? I don't know if that makes sense, but she's out there making strides, and she published this book talking about sex and relationships. So how to have a fulfilling sex life, how to have fulfilling relationships. She is a cishet woman as well, so she does talk a lot about her experience and the experiences of straight women, but she also does kind of go into a little bit on the LGBTQ community as well. So this book will be for everyone. I highly recommend it so far because I'm not even far into it, and I'm just like, I can relate to some of the stuff, and it's very educational as well. So she's coming with the facts, you know what I mean, with the diagrams, which is amazing because, again, from her threads on Twitter and Instagram, you can see that sex education is lacking. Being a teacher, I can say that sex education isn't the best in schools. So this is a great way to kind of make sure you know the facts around sex and relationships, about consent, about how can I feel pleasure, how can I be happy in this relationship, how can I manifest a fantastic relationship. Do you know what I mean? She goes through all of that. So definitely go read this book. It's so good so far. I'm planning to do a review on this when I actually finish. But yeah, I'm reading so many books right now, so yeah, I'll get to this at some point. But yeah, that is it, lovelies. That is it. Books that I recommend on love, sex, and relationships. Definitely, like, some of the books I have absolutely enjoyed, and I definitely think you should go and read them. So if you do want to pick up one, let me know in the comments. If you've already read them, let me know. If you've got some suggestions for me as well, I'm always happy to pick up another book. Let me know as well in the comments. What I will say is that I obviously didn't include romance fiction books because obviously they are about romance. So I was just like, I'm not going to include, because this video will be, what, fucking 2 hours long because I'm talking about romance fiction. But definitely go and read those books. So that is the end of my video. Please comment, like, and subscribe. definitely share this video because Valentine's Day is coming up soon. Let the girlies know, let the guys know. And I hope you guys have a lovely I hope you guys have a lovely week and a fantastic Valentine's Day if you are celebrating. If you're not, I still hope you have a lovely day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.